Okay, now let's go on to 2018. Okay, paper 1E, science end of year. Now let's go to section D. Okay, now a student removed 3 samples of plant cells from the leaf, which leaf sample was placed into one of the 3 sucrose solution. One of the 3. So each sucrose solution was at a different concentration. Do take note. They are at different concentration. We label them A, B, and C. So look at this. Okay, these are the samples. This is how they look after a few minutes. After a few minutes over here. Now let's look at what is happening. So when it came to here, you can see the cells here, the description, and this is actually plasmolysed. Okay? This one looks the same. This one looks bigger, right? So it's swollen, or we will term it as turgid. So name the process that caused a change in appearance of the plant cells in both solution A and C. So A and C, we know that for the plant cell to become plasmolysed, swollen, or turgid, the only process that can cause all this to happen is osmosis, because there is a change in terms of the water molecules within the cell. So it's either moving in or moving out. Describe and explain the change that took place in solution A. Now, solution A, the cells are plasmolysed. So how can this happen? Most probably it would be this. Okay, so solution A, we believe solution A has a lower water potential than the cell. Now, if it has a lower water potential in the cell, what's going to happen? Okay, this will cause a net. Okay, a net movement. So the word net is important. A net movement of water out of the cell, by osmosis. So you must did the process over here. Okay. Now, once you know that the movement of water is out the cell, so what actually, when the water leaves the cell, the cell will then shrink. The cell will shrink, or the cells will shrink. Okay, and become. Sorry, my end's a bit uglier. Okay, the cell will shrink and become plasmolysed. Okay, so that's for part B. Now, so question 1 is done. Let's go to question 2. Define active transport. So this is a definition question. You can just copy it down from your notes. Okay, but I'm just going to write it all down here. So active transport. Okay, active transport is a process in which energy is used. Okay, with active transport, definitely energy is used. What does it do? To transport substances, or to move. Okay, to move. Since we use transport here, right? To move substances from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration against a concentration gradient. Okay, so 3 marks here. Please write down the full definition. Okay, now part B. Figure 2 shows an epithelial cell which lines the small intestine. It absorbs glucose via active transport. Explain why active transport only occurs in living cell. This idea here is that you know active transport requires energy. Okay, active transport requires energy. Okay, and only living cell is able, okay, to respire. The key term here, the process we're looking for, is to respire, to release energy. Okay, so just take note of this. Okay, next. On figure 2, circle the structure which allow the cells to absorb glucose efficiently. So efficiency comes in terms of they must have some sort of a way to help them. It's actually over this part here. So how do you know is that part? Okay, because this is the part that actually we have mentioned here. Okay, epithelial cells have what we call folded structures. Now, what do these folded structures actually do? Okay, which will help increase the surface area. Okay, so let me spell out the surface area to volume ratio. So if it's able to increase the surface area to volume ratio, this will actually help, okay, to absorb the glucose efficiently. So for some of you, if you say it has long and narrow structures, also possible, very similar to the root hair cell. Okay. Next, question 3 again. Oh, this is question 3. So what are the structures labeled here? So P is this structure over here. But it's not a nuclear envelope. If you say nuclear envelope, you realize we didn't really tell you what is the function of the nuclear envelope. Hence, this P wouldn't be pointing to the nuclear envelope, but really just to the general structure of everything is actually the nucleus. Q is this one over here. You can see the black dots here. So this is the ribosomes on the endoplasmic reticulum, and hence this is actually the RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum. This one is a Wi-Fi structure, so this is actually the Goji apparatus. Okay. Now, so what do they actually do? What is their name? So I'm going to write down what they are. So first one, nucleus. So what does the nucleus do? So the nucleus actually contain hereditary information, your DNA. Okay, hereditary information, and control cell activities. Okay, so this is the function of the nucleus. For Q is actually the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So what do? They actually transport proteins. So they transport proteins to the Goji apparatus to secrete out of the cell. Actually, if you just write this part, actually more or less quite okay already. Structure R, the last one, okay, is actually the Goji apparatus. So what does the Goji apparatus do? So the Goji apparatus actually modifies substances and packages them. Modifies substances made by the ER. Okay, I'm just going to write short form. ER stands for endoplasmic reticulum, and packages them. Okay, and packages them in vesicles. Okay, in vesicles for secretion. Sorry, spell wrong again. In vesicles for secretion of the cell. Okay, describe two features in a xylem vessel that enables them to serve their function. So, what other two functions that you can name? I think first one is that they do not have cross wall. So that's the first function, or you can say that they are hollow. Now, how does this actually help them to serve their function? Is that this actually allows, okay, for water and mineral salt to be transported efficiently from roots to the rest of the plant. Now, actually, this is only one feature and its explanation. So there needs to be another one. The next one is actually lignin is deposited on the wall. okay, of the xylem vessel. Now, so what does it do? It actually helps to prevent. This helps to prevent the vessels from collapsing. So it actually strengthens it. The vessels from collapsing by strengthening it. Okay, so this is the two functions of the xylem vessel. And the two features actually help them serve their function. So these two features actually they are like sort of like a specialized function, a specialized features. Okay, that make them unique, that allows them to serve their function better. Next, question 3a. Now this is a plant cell. So what are the three plant cells over here? This one is like the jelly bean with the veins. So this is mitochondria. Mitochondrion, because it's new one. This is a chloroplast. Okay, very similar to mitochondria, but just that you can see there are many things inside there. So this is actually chloroplast containing chlorophyll. And the last one, this one here, you can see it doesn't have the inner circle, right? So this is actually the vacuole. So what are the functions of the mitochondria, the chloroplast, and the vacuole? So first one, S is actually mitochondria. Mitochondrion. So what does it do? Okay, it actually performs aerobic respiration. And like what I mentioned just now in terms of the active transport, right? You need the mitochondrion to actually respire to provide energy for the cell. Next, T actually is chloroplast. So what do the chloroplasts do? They actually contains chlorophyll, okay, which is required for photosynthesis. So without the chloroplast, there's no chlorophyll. Without the chlorophyll, there's no photosynthesis. Your plant cannot make food. Okay. Next, U is actually the vacuole. Now, what does the vacuole do? Actually, it just store the substance within the cell. Okay, actually just store the substances within the cell. Okay, or some of you may just put it as store the cell set. Okay. Next, describe two essential features of red blood cells. Relate those features to the function. Okay, so red blood cells are actually quite unique in a sense. Okay, first thing, they contain hemoglobin. So what does containing hemoglobin do? Okay, this will actually allow them to transport oxygen. Okay, to transport oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. There's one possible function you can write. The second one is that it has no nucleus. So how does having no nucleus help? So having no nucleus means that there's more cytoplasm containing hemoglobin. So if there's more cytoplasm containing hemoglobin, what would it mean? It will mean that I can transport more oxygen. Okay. Now, third one, the last one about its shape. So it actually has a circular biconcave shape. Now, how does this circular biconcave shape help? So this actually helps to increase the surface area to volume ratio. By increasing the surface area to volume ratio, it actually allowing the oxygen to diffuse or to move in and out of the cell at a faster rate. Okay, so this marks the end of section D and the end of the whole paper. So that's all.